All right, did you hear it start? Okay, so welcome to Statistics. My name is Mike Mosier, and I will not do a lot of statistics today, but we're going to go through the syllabus, and we're going to talk about your first project that's going to be due this week, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of time to do a demonstration of the Hawks Learning System, which is the online learning homework tool that we're going to use. All right? Okay? So when you found out you had to take statistics, what were you thinking about that? It's like, woohoo! Right? Well, statistics kind of has a bad reputation as a class to take. Most people don't look forward to that sort of thing. But it's my job to change your mind there. My goal by the end of the semester is to have you wanting to change majors. Right? How many people are seniors? Okay, don't try to change majors. It's too late. But the rest of you are fair game, right? Every year or two, there's a group that does a survey of the top jobs in the United States. It's called the Jobs Rated Almanac. You can look it up, Google it, Jobs Rated Almanac. You can look that up. And they rate the top 200 jobs. And almost every year, including the last time they did it, the number one job was actuary. Now, probably at least half of you thought, what the heck's an actuary, right? Well, an actuary is a person that is very good at probability and statistics and mathematical modeling. We have here at Washburn a degree in actuarial science. And the number two job was, I'm not sure I have the order right, but number two job was statistician. And that's what I am. I'm a statistician. I'm not an actuary, but I'm trained as a statistician. And then mathematician was in the top 5. Computer scientist was in the top 5. And then somehow, something like chemist snuck in there. I'm not sure how that got in there. But 4 out of the top 5 jobs were taught in our department right here. So we got that going for us. Before I came to Washburn, I worked in industry for a while as a clinical biostatistician at a pharmaceutical company. Right? Sounds more impressive than it probably is. But basically it means that I worked on research teams doing clinical trials. And then I was out also at KU Med for a while, not as a teaching professor, but as a research professor, again, doing medical research. So statistics has everything to do with research. Right? So one of the things that we'll do in this class, and particularly at the beginning of the semester, is talk about how you design studies so that you get statistically valid results from the data when the data comes in. Right? Hopefully that won't intimidate you, or you won't think that's boring. That's the most important part of my job. So, let's talk about the syllabus. So, in the syllabus, I'm not going to read everything here to you, but in the syllabus, the thing isn't going to, unless I stand right in front of it, it won't point at it. See, it's trying to follow me. So I don't know, you guys on the online class, good luck. All of my contact information is up there at the top, my office hours, email address, all that kind of stuff. The required textbook is listed there. It's this one, Beginning Statistics, right? How many people already have that? Oh, good, most of you, right? I sent an email out before the semester started about options. Did you get that email? Okay, so it is possible to get by without the book, just with the access code to this Hawks Learning System. So that's what it talks about here, the Hawks Learning System, and getting an access code. That access code provides access to an electronic book. Right? And that's what I'll use in class a lot, is I'll open up the electronic book to show here's the table or here's the formula or whatever that I'm trying to show. Okay? You can get by with just that ebook, but a lot of people would prefer to have a hard copy of the book to carry around. You're also required to get a TI-83 or a TI-84 calculator. That's this guy. Right? These are not cheap. Right? So you can get them at Target or at Walmart, or you can get them from your roommate, whatever. Every semester I get a few people that ask, well, I don't have a TI-84, but I got this TI other thing, or a Casio or whatever. Will it work? And my answer to that is, I don't know. And I don't know how to run any other calculator but this one. And so you get this one, you'll be good to go. If you have one that you think will work, check it out. It might. Right? But it has to have the statistical tools that this has built into it. And that is confidence intervals, hypothesis testing, probability distributions, all that kind of stuff. It's part of the calculator. It will allow you to get by without memorizing a whole bunch of formulas. Right? That's part of why people hated statistics for so long, is because that's what it was all about. Was you memorize a whole bunch of formulas, you take a test, you regurgitate it out onto the paper, and then you forget it. Okay? Well, now what I'm going to focus on is much more interpreting. How do I understand what the calculator just computed for me? Right? So I don't need to know the formula as much as I need to know how to interpret what I get out of that formula. Right? So you got to have the calculator. You will not survive without that calculator. Right? Now I will tell you, I was going to show you, but I'm filming with my smartphone. You can download an app for your smartphone that emulates the TI-84. It's called Wabbit Emu. Emu for emulator, and Wabbit, I don't know. It's like Elmer Fudd, right? But Wabbit Emu. And you download it, you put it in, and when you open the app, it makes your screen look like a TI-84, and you push the buttons, and it'll do everything the TI-84 will do, except get you through a test, because I do not allow cell phones on tests. So it's a free app, but you're not going to be able to use it on a test. But if you have a roommate or a brother or somebody that has a TI-84, they'll loan you once in a while. You maybe get by on your homework with that app, and then just borrow the calculator for the test. And that's up to you. Right? These things are not cheap. And so I do like to say just real quick every semester, your book, your calculator, all these things are expensive. And most people put them in their backpack, right? You all have a backpack. And then you leave it in your car overnight, and guess what? Somebody smashes the window, steals it, and now you're without it. So take care of it. I mean, don't let that backpack out of your sight. Your whole life is in that backpack, right, when you're a college student. So be careful with it. Okay, the objectives and the learning outcomes, I'm going to let you read those on your own. But let's talk about how you're going to be graded. The points will be allocated between chapter exams. I also call those midterm exams. And then your homework, and then your final exam. There'll be 3 of those midterm exams. They'll add up to 60%, so do the math. That's 20% each. So everything is 20%. Right? You got 5 things you're going to get points for, and they're each worth equal. 20% of your grade. Right? Which means the homework can offset a bad test. Right? The way this Hawks learning system works, it's really a neat system. That's why we switched to it, because it was impressive that it has 3 modules. I'm going to demonstrate this a little bit later, but it has 3 modules. It has the learn mode, the practice mode, and then the certify mode. And the certify mode is where you get your points. But the practice mode is exactly the same, only if you miss it, it will tell you what you did wrong and explain how to do it right and let you try again. But as soon as you go to certify, then you don't get extra chances. You miss it, you just miss it. And all you have to do is get 80% correct in the certify mode, and you get a check mark. Hey, you're certified. So in my grade book, You get graded on how many of those check marks you get out of all the possible check marks. So the fact that you only got 82%, you still can get 100% on your homework if you get certified in every single lesson. See how it works? So you have the opportunity to get 100% on the homework. Right? So don't be the kind of person that says, I don't really like doing homework, so I don't have to. And then in the end of the semester, you've got a C average on all your tests, and you get a D in the class, and I'm seeing you in here next semester because you didn't do the homework. The homework should bring your grade up, not bring your grade down. And having it worth 20% of your grade, that's a pretty big chunk. So, you've probably heard of this before. Commitment. Expect to spend 6 to 9 hours per week outside of class for every 1 hour that you spend in class. No, I said that wrong. 2 to 3 hours for every 1 hour in class. So for a 3-hour class, that's 6 to 9 hours every week. You should plan to spend on statistics. Getting the homework done, reading the book, getting ready for the test, all that stuff. 6 to 9 hours a week. Now, research has shown, you'll hear me say that a lot this semester, research has shown that college students will tend to make a sometimes subconscious decision about how many hours they're going to spend on a class during the first week or two of that class. You'll come in the first week, you think, oh, this is an easy class. I don't have to carve out any time out of my busy schedule to work on this class. Oh, but calculus, that's a hard one. So now I got to carve out a lot of time to... Don't be fooled by statistics. The first 2 chapters are pretty easy. They are what I call concept chapters, vocabulary kind of chapters. You're just going to learn, definitions of terms and that kind of stuff, and concepts that deal with study designs, things like that. And some people's brains are better at that kind of stuff than they are at working problems. Well, statistics is difficult because it's got both. Right? So people who are good at one but not the other end up not doing well in the class. So you got to make yourself be good at both of those things. So if you're the kind of person who's good at definitions and vocabulary and memorizing stuff, you'll think the first 2 weeks of class, this is going to be easy. I only need an hour a week. Right? Don't be fooled. I'm not going to do it this semester because it's the first time through a new book, but generally I teach the probability chapter first because that's hard. And it shocks people in that first week to, oh, crap, I'm going to have to do a lot of studying for this class. Right? But this semester I'm not doing that, so I'm warning you up front. Don't be fooled. Don't think that it's going to be easy because of what you see in the first chapter. Attendance is critical to your success. The people who come to class regularly, and especially people who ask me questions outside of class when they're not getting the homework, they're the people that do pretty well. People that don't come to class regularly and don't keep up with the material as it's going and try to cram that one day before the test, they end up not doing well in the class. Okay? So attendance, therefore, is required. I will take roll every day, unless I forget. I am very forgetful. But I will take roll. One of the things that I didn't do before today's class, I actually did it, but I ended up printing the wrong class roster. So I don't have your class roster, so I can't call the roll today. So what I'm going to have you do, what is your name?
Mariah.
Mariah? Can you donate a piece of paper to the cause?
Yeah.
And
We already did.
oh, I already did that? Oh, yeah, I used the back of the last... See, I told you I was forgetful. All right. Good. Never mind. I'm glad you didn't tear that out. Is it already done? I put on this side Section D, and one person signed it. Are you Holly? Holly signed it. Where are the rest of you? Did you sign over here? Well, see, now you mixed in with my other class. Yeah. I'm going to have to teach you guys so much. Nah, I'm kidding. I can figure that out. So, first couple of weeks of class, I will call the roll out loud, try to learn your names, and then after that time goes by, after I feel like I start to know you, then I'll just do a sign-up sheet every day. Okay? And it's usually the person that sits at this corner of the room. What's your name?
Maddie.
Maddie? You're going to be responsible for reminding me about the sign-up sheet. Right? And half the days you'll have to donate a piece of paper because I forgot. Right? Speaking of forgetting, I will say a lot of times in class, oh, by tonight I'll have the next homework set up for you, or I'll have this document posted for you or something, and you'll go out looking for it that night and it won't be there. Guess what? I forgot. So just as soon as that happens, the first person who goes out and doesn't find it, email me and say, hey, can you get that up? And then that reminds me to get it done. All right? So I'm just telling you up front, I forget stuff all the time. So homework and quizzes, I've already talked a little bit about the Hawks learning system. You will have a lesson to certify in for every section in the book that we cover, and that's probably 30 to 35 different sections through the course of the semester. Right? So I allow you to miss up to 3 of those things. But that's homework and quizzes lumped together. So I'll talk about quizzes in a second. So if you're out of town or whatever and you forget to go on and get your homework done or whatever, it won't hurt you as long as it happens 3 or fewer times. But as soon as you go more than that, then they start adding up as zeros. Okay? Quizzes will be unannounced pop quizzes in class on paper. Okay? And they pretty much are what I call scare tactics. Right? I'll give a quiz to scare you into realizing, ooh, I'm really not prepared for this test. Right? I thought I knew how to do that. It looks easy when you're doing it on the board. Right? But it lets you see, and what I do is my quizzes almost always are a question pulled straight off of last semester's test. And I'll drop it in a quiz and have you do it. Right? If you can't do it, it doesn't hurt you that much on a quiz because they're not worth all that much points. And typically, I grade quizzes really easy. I give you 5 points if you spell your name right, and then another 5 points for the problem. Right? So quizzes, the only way they hurt you is if you're not here to take them. If you miss a quiz, there's no makeup on quiz. Right? You just miss it. It's one of your 3. And you don't get 3 homeworks and 3 quizzes. You get 3 combined. Right? But you can have 3 misses. The exception that I make to that is if you're away on a school-sponsored trip of some kind. Right? You're on one of the sports teams or the debate team, or you're in the band or whatever, and you have to be gone and miss class. I give a quiz, then you can make that quiz up. But otherwise, it's just one of your 3. Okay? So let's talk about exams, kind of from the same perspective. I already mentioned there would be 3 exams. And if we have an exam scheduled on a given day, then you just need to plan to be here. Okay? Again, if you're going to be on a school-sponsored thing, that's out of your control, then make arrangements with me before you leave. Okay? And we can work around that. It's not a big deal. But if you just don't show up for the test because I wasn't really feeling ready for it, then that's a 0 on that test. It's better to come in and try than it is to just take a 0. Right? Now, I understand that things happen. People have car wrecks on the way to class. It does happen. So if that happens, then 2 things. I need to hear from you no later than that day. I couldn't make the test this morning because I had a car wreck on the way driving from Lawrence or whatever. Right? I need to hear from you. And then when you come back to make up the exam, I need documentation. I need the police report or whatever. I need the doctor's note that said you had the flu. And by the way, if you have the flu, don't come to class. Right? Don't come and make the rest of us sick. Right? We'll talk about infectious diseases as we go through the semester. So, but I will need documentation in order to make up an exam. Okay? Make-up exams are a real pain in the behind for me and for you, so just be here, and then you won't have to worry about it. Right? Real quick on your official email address, that is your Washburn email. There's people that have other email addresses that they like better. That's fine. If you can forward your Washburn account into that one, then you don't have to worry about it. But that's how I'm going to notify you of the test I just thought about that we're having tomorrow. Right? Actually, we'd never do that to you, but that's technically all the notice that I have to give you is an email. If you're not checking your email, or you're not checking the right email account, and you never hear from it, well, the excuse of, I didn't get the email isn't a valid excuse. Okay? Unfortunately, students at Washburn have a quota on their inbox. Did you know about this? So every once in a while, I'll send an email to the whole class, and 2 of them will bounce. That student is over quota. So you don't get any, you have no idea that emails are trying to get in and they can't. So keep your inbox cleaned out of all the crap that gets in there, and so that valuable messages from your stats professor can get in. All right. Okay, now, this part of the syllabus is the actual day-to-day schedule of what's going to be happening. So the way it's going to work is on a particular day, like August the 28th, it says here that I'm going to teach section 2.2, graphical displays of data. Right? So you can look at this and figure out at any day what section you're going to be on. You can have that read before you come to class so that you're prepared for the quiz. The homework will be assigned to be due the next class period after I finish a section. Okay? So on 8/26, I'm teaching section 2.1. The homework over that will be due 8/28 by midnight. Got it? Okay? Now, notice the 2.2, which I randomly pointed at a minute ago, and it was a bad example, because it's split across 2 days. So I don't finish 2.2 till this day, so the homework would be 9/2. Right? So that gives you an opportunity to, after I finish teaching a section, to go try the homework, come back the next class period, tell me how confused you were, I'll straighten you out, and then you still have till midnight that night to get it done. Okay? But come see me during office hours, call me or email me in between when you get stuck on things, and you'll keep up. It won't be an issue. Right? I will check email. Every evening I get on my email, and I'm usually on there for, like from 9:30 to 10:30 or something like that. I don't stay up all night like college students, but sometimes, it's due by midnight, and there's times when I'm up that late, and I can get you answered, and you can still make the due date. Right? So try it. I'm not going to guarantee that I'll get to you if you're waiting until 11:59 to email me, but try it. Email works pretty good. A lot of people think, email, I don't know how to ask the question by email. But give it a whirl. It's not too bad. Okay? This system, I haven't figured everything out. The last system that we had an Ask My Instructor button, which was really nice because it would email me the page that you're looking at. And so you just click on that and you say, I'm working on this and I don't know what to enter into this box or whatever. I don't know if the Hawks has anything like that. I know there's ways to ask your instructor from within there, but I don't know what I get to see because it hasn't happened yet. But we'll experiment with that. Also included in this syllabus, in this time schedule, are your exam dates. So there you see September the 18th is exam 1. Right? So that is not set in stone. These are only tentative. Particularly because this is a new book, I'm not 100% sure how long some of this stuff's going to take me, but probably that's going to be correct. Right? Actually, I know that one is set in stone, I'm sorry, because I'm going to be gone that day. Right? So I'm going to have someone else here to give the exam. That way they don't have to guest lecture for me. Right? Okay, so the first exam will be September the 18th. Notice that the day before the exam is a review day. It says review. So what I do is I give out basically a practice exam. And that is to be filled out completely before you come to class for that review session. And then I'll entertain any questions you had as you were filling it out. Things you didn't know how to do, we'll work them in class. Okay? Including the final, will have reviews before every single test. Okay? They are a really good learning tool, those review exams. Okay, so about the final. If I scroll down to the bottom here, the week of December the 7th is finals week, and you guys are section D, the 12 o'clock class. So your final is scheduled, oh boy, Friday of finals week at 1:30 in the afternoon. You get the very last final slot, which I guess that's good. You get the most time to study for your statistics class. Right? So, there you go. I don't expect you to remember this, but I do expect you to remember where you can find it. It's in the syllabus. And it's in the tentative exam schedule, final exam schedule, which is posted out there on my Washburn, all that. Okay? Any questions over the syllabus or how the course is going to work? Nope? All right. So let's talk about the data collection project. So this is your first assignment. You're actually going to have 3 things due this Friday. You're going to have 2 sections of the book due on Friday, because I'm going to cover 2 things on Wednesday. And then you're going to have this thing. They're all going to be due Friday by midnight. So the sooner you get them done, the better. This one you can do tonight and get it out of the way. This will help us build a data set with real data that you guys collect, and then we'll use that data set throughout the rest of the semester to illustrate points, to have some data to practice with, have you run some stuff maybe in Excel or whatever. All right? First thing to know is this is a project, not a homework set, so it's not in the list of things you can drop if you decide not to do it. If you don't do this one, you just get a 0 in the grade book. Okay? It'll be worth 10 points. And what you're going to do is you're going to survey 5 people. But you can use yourself as one of those 5 people. Right? But you cannot share the other 4 with another student. So if you're in here with 5 of your closest friends, you can't be each other's sample. Right? I had to do that once because I had 5 guys from the football team, Adam, all in the class at once. And that's what they did. I thought, well, that was pretty smart, but never again. So what I get then is a data set that has 5 observations that are counted as 25 observations. So I don't want that. So everybody has to use unique subjects. Okay? They need to be at least 18 years old. All right? Because we're going to do some analyses on this data, and we want to make inference from the data to adult population. So I don't want children in here. I don't want 16-year-olds or whatever, right? So I want 18 years old or older. There's no upper limit. My current record is 91. Had a 91-year-old in here. They weren't in my class. They just got surveyed by somebody. Underlined and bolded is note. How are you going to be graded? On your ability to follow these instructions. Right? So, I'm going to be very picky on how the data are entered. And that's because data are analyzed with computers. Computers don't know the difference. I'm sorry, they do know the difference. They don't understand that a capital F and a little f, it's the same thing. Right? So if you enter a capital F for one of your females and a little f for another of your females, they think that's 2 different genders. And there might be 4 genders. Right? So enter it exactly as it's said. So you're going to collect this data. Age, gender, height, shoe size, smoking status, exercise status, resting pulse, and health rating. All of those variables. Right? Now, this is a statistics class. Right? It's about collection of data, analyzing data, and making decisions from data. So one of the first things I want you to learn is If you ask somebody a question like that, hey, do you exercise?
Yes.
What do you mean by exercise? Ask yourself, if you're designing research, you have to ask yourself, could this question be interpreted differently by two different people? What's your idea of exercise? Don't cheat and read that.
Going to the gym or going for a walk.
Okay, going to the gym. What's your idea?
Running.
Oh, you got to run. Walking doesn't count? See how people can interpret it differently. So, don't let them interpret it. You interpret it for them. Tell them. Ask them, do you exercise? And by that I mean, do you exercise vigorously for at least 20 minutes, at least 3 times a week? Then they qualify as an exerciser. Got it? Now, exercising vigorously, if you're walking vigorously, maybe that's okay, right? But it's intent to exercise. You can't say, well, I have to park out here in the North 40 every day and run to class because I'm always late. So yeah, I exercise 3 times a week. That doesn't count. It's intent to exercise, right? So, and it doesn't have to be 3 times every single week, but that should be their average, right? More is okay, less is not. Okay, what about smoking? You need to define for them. People can interpret that different, right? You might ask somebody if they're a smoker and they think, I'm not really even up to a pack a day yet. I'm not a smoker. Right? And somebody else is, oh, there was that one time back in high school. Yes, I'm a smoker. Right? Tell them what you mean by that. You know? What do you mean by smoking? I mean you smoke at least 1 cigarette every single day. That's a smoker. And that's the accepted definition of nicotine addiction in the smoking cessation literature. I've done a lot of research in that area, so that's how I knew that definition. Okay, and then resting pulse. How many nursing students we got in here? Right? Does it make a difference if you're standing up or sitting down or lying down? So pulse is different. So what I mean by resting pulse is they are seated, and they have to be seated for at least 5 minutes before you take their pulse. If they come running in late to class and plop down and I take their pulse right then, it'll be elevated. So I need to give it 5 minutes to settle back down. Right? So 5 minutes. And I want you to count for 30 seconds and then multiply by 2. If you can take it for 6 seconds and multiply by 10, but that's pretty inaccurate. So you need to go 30 seconds before you get an accurate reading. Got it? Follow that exactly. And please take this serious. Don't call somebody up on the phone. Hey, Mom, I got to do this data collection for my stats class. What's your resting pulse? About 75. Okay, done. Right? Don't do that. Don't make up data. Actually collect it, and we can show some stuff from this data. How pulse relates to smoking, how pulse relates to exercise, how pulse relates to age, whatever. Right? So if you actually collect it, we get good data from this. Okay, let's see. Health rating. The last one is health rating. And this is what in medical research we refer to as a self-reported instrument. Right? You're going to ask somebody, how healthy do you think you are? But again, you have to define that for them. Right? Please rate your health on a scale of poor, fair, good, very good, or excellent. There's 5 choices, and they're spelled out for you here. All right? So then I'm going to show you a spreadsheet. You're going to enter these numbers into the spreadsheet. So you don't have to type all this. You just enter a 1, that means poor. A 2 means fair, and so on. Got it? So you need to explain the scale to them before they choose. Now, every once in a while you'll ask somebody and they well, I'm pretty good. Okay, is that good or is that very good? It's pretty good. Make them choose. They have to choose either good, and if they won't choose it for them. All right? But it's got to be one of these things. Okay? Then once you have your data all collected, click that hyperlink, and it takes you to a Google Doc. They used to call them Google Docs. Now it's called Google Drive, I think, or something. But it's a document, a spreadsheet that's out there. And we all get to share this same spreadsheet. Now, one of the things I've learned over the years is that if you give 70 people, because all 3 of my sections are going to be in here, you give 70 people edit capabilities on the same document, somebody's going to screw it up. So don't be that guy. Right? Be careful in here. And it's kind of fun because you can open up this document and sit there and watch, and you'll see somebody entering data. The numbers just start popping in. You know. Well, if somebody's entering data here, figure, well, okay, they're going to need 5 rows, so I'm going to go down here and start mine. You don't have to get the number of rows exact, but just go below where you see somebody doing stuff. Don't get in a war with them. That's my cell. No, that's my cell. All right? Go down below. And when you get down to the bottom, it only allots, I don't know, 200 rows or something like that. But there's a button that says add 20 rows. So if there's no more rows left, just click add more rows, and it'll add some for you. You can enter your data down there. All right? But because of the possibility that somebody screws it up, and last semester we had a fiasco in here, and nobody would ever admit to it. But I narrowed it down. I figured out who it was because I knew what time it was, and I could see who logs on. They never would admit it. No, I didn't do that. Yeah, sure. But somehow they overwrote like 50 rows of the last 4 columns. They got the whole thing shifted somehow, so the data wasn't matching up. Just type the numbers in. Don't be copying and moving stuff around, and you'll probably be fine. But once you get done, what I want you to do is I want you to go into your email program, open an email note to me, and put in the subject line something like data collection or survey or something. Come in here to the Google Doc, drag across your 5 rows of data, hit Control-C for copy or go up in the menu here and copy, and then go to the email, paste, and send it to me. All right? And when I get that email from you, I may not ever respond to it because I'm going to get bombarded with these emails, particularly at 10 o'clock on Friday evening. Half of you will wait till then to get it done. And I'll get all these emails. I may not respond to them, but that's my trigger to go give you the points in the gradebook. If you don't email me, then you won't get any credit for this thing. Right? So when you get that email sent to me, if somebody does screw this up and it gets deleted or changed or whatever, I can go back and rebuild it based off of those email notes. I don't want to have to do that. That's a pain in the butt. But that's what the email's for. It's a safety device. Okay? Okay. I've got about 10 minutes left, so let's look at... Well, I guess I should offer any questions over the data collection.
Are we all Section A?
No, I'm glad you brought that up. What section are you guys? D. This is just an example. All right? So this person was in Section A, but you're Section D. The 12 o'clock section is D, the 11 o'clock section is C, and then the online section is VA. Did you hear that? VA. So those are the only numbers you should see in there. And I also forgot, initials are your initials, not the people you survey. Okay? So, and it's in the document, in the instructions, it explains that. But I want to know that these 5 came from the same person. So I need an identifier unique to each sample. Yes?
All this is on D2L?
Good question. She said all this on D2L. Yes, this is posted on D2L and the syllabus is on D2L. And it'll stay there all semester. But it's also posted under course materials on the Hawks system. And I'm hoping to get away from posting stuff on D2L and just do everything within Hawks, so you only have to go to one place. But until I get it all really figured out, I'm going to have the backup of D2L. All right, so let's go look at Hawks. So this is after the fact. This is after you've already set up an account. So when you first go in, you're going to do create an account. And this looks a little bit different on here than it will if you download the software. Did I say that already? You can with the CD they give you, you can install on your own computer the software, and it's independent of the internet. So you can work homework even though you don't have an internet connection or whatever. My computer doesn't even have a CD drive anymore. It's starting to be old-fashioned. But you can go to their website and just download it and install the software, right? Or you can choose to just work on their web portal and not install the software. Either one works. The problem is you won't have the opportunity to work offline. But once you get set up with Create Account, this will have you enter that code, the big long access code that came with the book. Once that's all done, you'll have your email address and then whatever password you set up, and they'll make you change the password to whatever you want. Then you'll sign in. And then this is like the home page. And you see up here it says eBooks. So there's your ebook. You can click on that and you bring up the book, and it's just page by page. Even the pictures and everything look identical. All right? If you click on View Course, then across the top it has To-Do List that comes up. So these are the ones that you have coming up. Due within the week, due later. 1.1 is missing from mine because I logged on as a student and I worked that one just to see what it was like. And I got certified, by the way. So I got certified, so it's not showing here, but it will on yours. Right? So under your to-do list will be everything that you still haven't done that's due within a certain amount of period. So due within a week, due later, and so on. All right? And then you can click on Lessons, and it's basically the same thing. So, and then I don't know if I'm going to do any web tests, but I might. If I do, they'll show up under here. Other. If you click on Other, that's where the data collection project is. Notice the little 1 there. It means there's one item. And data collection project, but there's nothing really here. It's just to mark that you've got something due. So if you click on it, it has a description that says the instructions are under Materials. So click on Materials, and there is the syllabus, and this happens to be my online class, not you guys, but the syllabus and then the data collection project instructions. When you click on this, it opens that PDF file. You can see it right here as a PDF file. All right? So it'll be the one that I just showed. Then, let's go back to Lessons. And it's showing that I have 1.1 already done. So let's click on 1.2. I'm not sure why they're out of order, but if I click on